Professor Sudhir Kumar sir, Professor HAG, Civil Engineering Department, MNIT Jaipur, ex-principal, Government Engineering College Ajmer, ex-dean, HOD, MNIT. So it's a pleasure for all of us to have Professor Sudhir Kumar as honorable member of our Board of Governors. Today, we are with the sir to have a knowledge on NEP policies for engineers. Just to give an introduction about the glories for the sir is like, sir has been an honorable member of our Board of Governors in MNIT. He is being currently designated as Professor HAG with the Department of Civil Engineering. Dr. Sudhir Kumar sir has served at various administrative positions like HOD and Dean in MNIT Jaipur, Principal in Government Engineering College Ajmer, and Dean Faculty of Engineering in Rajasthan University. With around 30 years of teaching experience, he has contributed in projects and consultancy and training to government departments like PM, GSY, Rajasthan Urban Infrastructure Development Projects, RECO, PHED, JDA, DST, etc. He is a fellow and member of IEI with mentor and Margdarshak in AICTE schemes, an expert member of NBA. He has been member of several selection committees in government bodies like UPSC, RPSC, Gautam Buddha University. We are privileged to have such an eminent person guiding us with his vision and academia leadership. So I really feel so proud to have sir with us with this 2 hours, and he'll be enlightening us with the very important talk. That is the very very hot topic going nowadays, which is need to be really implemented in different engineering colleges, not only engineering as well as the non-technical ones also. So I give a warm welcome to sir. Thank you, sir, for accepting invitation. Over to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Priyanka. Good afternoon to you all. It's nice interacting with you with the topic, which is of all concerns. She introduced long about me, but I'm simply a teacher actually. So, and that is what the job of most of the institution people who consider as the main key stakeholder when we talk about any particular education system to grow. If we start with the issue of education, what is the purpose of education actually? We learned from generations that education, people make a different perception. Some people argue with the particular etho psychosis that by saying what our system was only the good system, some people are psychosis. They say that we have foreign policies better for education system, and then some people say the education system is uniform. It should be uniform, and all systems are good. Only thing is how to make connectivity with all systems, right? So, is it audible to all? Yeah, anybody? Yes.
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Able to hear you. Because in online mode, you feel that you are sitting alone only. Anyway, it's good that we are interacting with this issue, where from national level to global education system, we are going to talk in details, and then how what reforms actually there should be and are being planned at the national level in order to cope up with the international standards of education. As we are in our country, how begin with the particular reform of education over the historical period from 1948 to then we had revisions for education policies as well. But it has been 36 years or which we have not even revised the schemes and the kind of policy for education. So what made us actually to all of a sudden realize that the education system should be revised? And it's our history actually which tells us even we got, because in if I talk what is the preamble for making this particular thing to happen actually. So the learning is the main focus actually for things to happen in the education system, where we talk about the four kind of learnings actually. And that's what we say: learning to know, learning to do something as from the part of skills. Know means what? You say that you're going for knowledge sharing and acquiring knowledge through education system, and then learning to do something, that is occupational skills. You are making competence with somebody through a team or a package skill, whatever we have the challenges for working. According to that, we have a kind of learning. Then learning to actually live together. That's very important, where we come across how to understand other people. Okay, some people say that this fellow is good or this fellow is bad. There's nothing like that. All people on the earth sphere we have are good people only. They have different qualities, varieties, and the kind of value systems. So what we need to know that is we need to understand. We need to understand that how to live together as in a team. Okay, so team is TEAM actually. You all know that together each one achieves more if you do that team. Then learning comes to be developed as one's personality for autonomy of
Guest.
fellow. So that's what we say, that how to improve upon individuals' personality by having different senses through memory, reasoning. You call it what is the aesthetic sense of it. The individual's communication skill and all these things have to be realized. So that is what the agenda which came in mind. So it was thought that how to cover up all these learning parts from starting of education to the higher education actually. Okay, and then we came across a system which was 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 actually. Okay, you know, 3 plus first 3 is talking about that you have uh, up to the class fifth, class second actually. That for the first 5 years we are talking about that if a person is a boy or girl comes in the education system up to the class third, so we have those 5 years actually which are to be spent as part of 3 plus 2. And then we come across up to the fifth standard. That's again 3 more additions we have, and then up to eighth standard we have plus 3 more years, and then eighth to 12th we have actually 4 years. So that's how we have the system of this uh, education, which has been thought of in a different manner. But we had in the primary, otherwise we had different kind of classifications for the education system, and that was discriminating. So now you have made a uniform including the balwadi and preparatory education, so that together becomes 5 in fact. So as a modification, something has come up with the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 actually. Okay. So this structure was giving for different age groups, let's call from 3 to 8 years, 8 to 11 years, and like that, 11 to 14, and 14 to 18. So that's giving you a particular structure at the school level actually for learning. Then why it was thought of at the school level that there should be reforms at the school level before coming to the higher education, and the type of concept you are keeping in mind, that the schools are something differently taught things, and then we select all of a sudden engineering, we go for medical, we go for law, we go for different streams actually, arts also, some people go into arts. So the restriction, particularly in our country, developing countries, this was a big issue that by default, if somebody went in the arts branch, never had the opportunity to go into the sciences or engineering or medical, which is not there at the international level. When you talk about any time you can go anywhere and you can show your interest of interaction also, that you market that what good thing you can learn anytime. A fellow who is going from civil engineering side may anytime switch over to the computers. Computer fellow can go to humanity side and then can do good thing actually. So exploring individuals' capability and giving the flexibility in the learning mode, which was the main preamble of this education policy, probably reflecting that there was an urgent need for growing this. And this happened in our ancient system also, that there were gurus of learning in our history, and we moved with the different kind of systems where we found that the character and the learning as a whole was developed. And our enlightened personalities like Swami Vivekananda ji, who focused upon the education, that education is not the amount of information we put in the brain, but there is more to have life building system and making the man with the character, assimilating ideas actually. So putting this one commandment for learning is a very big target which has been taken up here, and it has been incorporated as our other Indian education scholars like Chanakya, Susutra, and Aryabhat, and Patanjali, Panini, all these people focused upon a system of idea and life, making man with the character and making some different idea to have growth. And you realize the same thing has been mentioned in 1956 by uh, uh, Benjamin Bloom, actually, who was a psychologist, and he focused upon Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so how to correlate Indian education systems, which have been either we are not in debate of making that who was the inventor of the system actually, but we are trying to make the universe as one in this particular system of learning. So Benjamin in 1956 focused upon knowledge, comprehensive learning, applications, and then analysis and synthesis, which was a pyramid, which you realize was taken up as a part of learning. Okay. And he mentioned if somebody is making this kind of learning to happen, probably we are reaching to a better outcome of learning. And then it was revised in 1972 by his own student, Anderson. Lauren Anderson in 1972 focused upon a different structure of it, making some additions of part of creation also, that how to be a creative person actually. Because what Vivekananda mentioned, that the assimilation of idea was the concept actually for education, not making somebody for a basket of learner actually to put to run rights there, that this is what we claim to be. But here and this particular concept of Anderson focused upon remembrance to the creativity. So, and that is what the concept of research also. Whenever somebody is focusing upon that, how to go for a research, it's not like that you read some research paper and then immediately idea came in your mind and you start working on that and you get some outcome of it. Okay, because the education is also talking nowadays about the outcome system. So the two previous staffs which we have already initiated was outcome, and which was globally identified as the impression for learning, and another was in fact for making the choice-based system, that whenever we have some interest of learning in a particular field of specialization, maybe irrespective of your the core learning subject, you have the flexibility to learn that, and that is what you call it. Uh, your choice-based system was initiated long back, and you had classifications based on that. That these are the core subjects, these are elective subjects, and elective subject can be sociology, can be political science, can be humanities, can be values and ethics, can be any part of sphere. If you are an engineering student, then you can choose any one, and then you can take n number of other electives of similar kind. Somebody had an interest, let's say, marking it that I have a microbiology to have interest of my choice after a few years study, somebody realized. So they can opt for their further degrees, these kind of electives. So that's what the flexibility came between inter-department and intra-department objectivity. But the focus is what Anderson was focusing upon, from remembrance to creativity. Now, this particular concept is similar as our people, our scholars have said, maybe Vivekanandi or Chanakya, Susruta, or Arabhat, whosoever you name the person who was the ultimate gurus of our the scholars of learning, and they were enlightened person by saying that they were having a continuum of learning approach. So they never said that we are at par than all people, illumination of learning. So this particular concept, which was making them a great personality, or the character actually, which they developed through the education. Okay, so how to liberalize the self? Probably they went beyond that through the schooling system, then going for uh, greater knowledge acquisition. This was probably the agenda which came in our new education policies through the uh, incorporation of our uh, own systems and the system of learning at the global level also. And the three domains which probably Anderson and Bloom's focused upon were the kind of, you must have seen when you people have gone in engineering systems, we have accreditation systems where one has to define that what kind of domain in which you are moving as for learning. So you had those cognitive, psychomotor, and affective learnings, and then said that what type of mark we keep in our subject of learning for a particular system. And affective was with the feelings and attitude actually. And if somebody tells you how you grow a person actually in the part of learning, then you are coming across three inputs, probably. You all agree with me that you should have some kind of attitude for learning actually. And if you don't have the attitude of learning, then probably you are stopping the things to acquire the knowledge actually. So knowledge lacking person cannot have the better skills actually. So that call we call it as a principle of ask, actually, ASK, attitude, skill, and knowledge. Okay. So this particular ask principle is one which is part of learner's sphere, actually. And then if one acquires these three inputs in the learning, and
Yeah,
this goes
sir.
so like,
One thing, sir.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Unfortunately, the
Yeah.
slides are not sliding, sir. If
Okay,
the
you
slides are
want
there.
me actually, because I'm gearing up what is the background of this education systems, actually.
Okay,
Slides,
yeah, then it's okay.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I thought, sir, if the slides are there, then
And,
might be.
and to make the interactive, anybody please make it an interactive session. I request all the participants that if one does have any query anytime, they can stop me and they can ask me anything regarding this particular system of policies or learning part which we are talking here. Okay, slide slipping is a few minutes job. I'll do that. That's not a big thing. But I'm just trying to say background history as why we
Yes, sir.
are for this education policy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so that's what the background where we focused upon that all people at the national level and the international levels are having the similarity, and that's what the cultural relativism we have. We have that third kind of person, actually. When you try to identify internalization of some person, you focus upon these parameters. Okay, so that cultural relativism is probably is focusing upon this particular part of learning in education system, and this remains same for all kind of people. Even Einstein has mentioned about the kind of learning which should one should take as from the inheritance of the information which should pass from one hand to another, that's from one a child to another, is a moral responsibility of all people, actually. So he focused that whatever we have learned in our system, that should be passed to the next generation, and then one should start from there to have a creative idea in order to contribute in the uh, system of human, I mean, in the society. So ultimately, as a part of commandment or as a part of a declaration, it came in the historical Universal Declaration with Human Rights by the UN General Assembly in 1948. You all will agree that this was a document under the Article 26, which was mentioning that everyone has the right to education. This was a declaration. Okay. And further, the detailing about the declaration was that the education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. And it is elementary education is a compulsory thing which should be taken up to the age of 14, actually. So this strengthening of human rights and the freedom was the key agenda, which was a vision for education system in India, actually, which we talked upon. Now, if somebody tells you that what is the full development for human personality, then it's a developing of an individual character, and what you said, making a person worth of having some assimilation of ideas, actually. So this was all what I just wanted you to be aware about, and some more history. You can think about that. In our country, we started with, as I said, last policy, which was planned in 1986. In 1968, the first education policy came. If you start from the beginning, probably University Education Commission was framed in 1948-49, and then probably Secondary Education Commission was in 1952 to 53, and then Education Commission was actually by the Professor D.S. Kothari, who was a professor, eminent professor, actually. In 1964, he could head up under the chairmanship of that person. It was formed Education Commission. And then the first national policy on education came in 1968. And then you had a sequencing of all this particular learning through modifications that was in national education policies with the 1986. Further, it was modified actually. It was modified in 1992 and came in action actually. And then we had an idea of starting with the new education policies soon after formation of this government in 2014 actually. So from there, we said 2016 actually. Work was started in 2015, and then in 2016, report by Subramaniam committee was presented. Uh, a secretary in the education who worked hard actually with the people participation and could give a report in 2016. And then he had, he expired unfortunately. So we had another committee who started working with Dr. Kasturi Rangan. And Professor Dr. Kasturi Rangan is the chairman of ISRO, as you all know that, who could give in 2019 one documentation on education policy. And then we had probably in very recent as the commissioning of this particular education policy to be implemented. Okay. Now we are ready for all the documents actually, that how to start with this and what is the scenario, why we should go for this. Ultimately, in higher education, one more challenge was given, that because if you look into the gross enrollment ratio, India is having highest probably in the primary education. That's from class 1 to 5. And if you compare with the higher education, we are the lowest. We are below the China even. And if you see the data, you will realize that higher education in India is up to 25% only. And then and this particular in US is 86%. And in Germany, it is 65% probably. So we have quite far to go for this particular GER. GER is focusing upon that how many people are actually going for the higher education participation. So our target then has to be phased out in the different forms by saying that we have a particular system where we have to achieve by you call it 2050, 2035. We have the target actually to reach up to 35%, and then 2050 we have, let's say, target to achieve 70%. So this particular target fixing is as per the uh, sustainable, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals also, which is internationally accepted for the primary education, GER, as well as for higher education. And the reason why we go, anybody who can participate and say why this higher education GER is lesser actually. Anybody? Just make a interactive class, because I'm feeling I'm alone talking here with you people. Yeah, anyone? Why this GR is in the higher education lesser actually? Anyone who can reply? And why we are not reaching up to that level? That means dropouts are more actually. Okay, dropouts are more at the schooling level, and then we have to focus upon. That's how we have to make that kind of education system in our policy, where we can think about increasing this particular issue at higher level, higher education level. And what is the role of government? What is the role of institution? What is the role of teacher in this? By which we can improve upon. So this probably will focus upon agenda that what is required to be done in education policy. And one of the issue is when we talk about investment in research and innovation in our country, we have different data actually available. Some people say that the patents are very less here. We have less innovation because why the less innovation? Because the total investment in education is less. Okay. So if you look into the data, you come across the total investment, public investment. You find out in US is 5% where of the GDP actually, whereas in India we have 2.7% of the GDP. As you look into the data of 2017 actually for percentage GDP investments in the education systems. And so we have the patent applications also, which are still pending is 45,000, whereas there in US we have 13 lakhs and in 6 lakhs, and in China we have 13 lakhs actually. So innovation or the products, designs and engineering, medical, other fields is too much in the country which is much having the population than us and then having different problems which are bigger than our country. So why we are lacking is probably this, where we have to invest upon the infrastructure, we have to invest upon the faculty recruitment, good faculty development. Faculty, when we talk about faculty, it's a big thing. We'll be talking about it also, that what is the role of a teacher actually. But let me brief you here. What I'm trying to focus upon is I'm showing you overall picture of where are we actually. Because if you reply three questions probably, that where are we and what do you want, and the third is how would you reach there, probably we can achieve what we aim for, what vision we have in any particular system of learning or education. Okay, so we are lacking somewhere in the finances, we are lacking somewhere in GER, we are lacking somewhere in the investments, and so the issues come to focus upon these agendas as a part of this. Now, this document briefing is all available to you people. So you must have the interest actually from now onwards that what needs to be improved upon. And this particular system where we are focusing upon the new education policy document preparations through the institutions of repute we are beginning with, and other universities and institutions are going to follow that, and then we have slowly, gradually to be implemented to this particular education policy, which has been framed out with choice-based systems and diversity with the different, you call it multidisciplinary approach for learning actually through the participation of different kind of subject learnings. So as a matter of fact, up to the school level, you are grooming the person with all field of specializations, okay, and particularly from 9 to 12, 12th, 4 years, last 4 years probably you are grooming them for all spheres of learning. And then one has to think about that where one is good at, and then how to opt for that particular field of specialization. And then again there has a switching of one system to another. So this a big flexibility probably is giving you better learning outcome for education system. That's a beauty of this particular learning. So on the day one, you cannot decide that you are good at engineering, you are good at medical, or you're good at law, or something like that. So you should have exit multiple entry and exit levels, which are the concerns, and we have to work on those agenda where we can work on implementation of this particular new education policy. So now the challenge comes is only the implementation of the new education policy, and then you have the first question to be replied that where you are. In the present scenario, we are at the position where we have to be more, uh, we have to do more homework actually for implementing this in form of a different certification system, equivalency, and other things. Okay, so that's what overview I wanted to give you. Then we'll be talking with the different issues as what has to be done from the teacher-centric point of view, from student-centric point of view, from all stakeholders' point of view. That is in the outcome-based learning of education. We already have this target agenda. Okay, so these are some of the basics definitions which you can learn from anywhere of the IT. And we have education is essential for achieving this. In itself, this is a compilation with the particular IT. And now IT has been shifted to a new word, IoT probably. Okay. And IoT, hello.
All the participants are requested, please to mute your mics.
Now, if somebody does have any query or question or discussion, let that flow to come out with the particular question. So
Yes.
that by now, whatever we have talked, if you have any particular query, because this is the first half around, we have end up and it's overview that some people had my queries that why this education is being changed. Some people said no, it's not good without knowing what is the inside history, what is the preamble of this particular policy, what is the vision of this particular policy, and why it is being changed, or all of a sudden because the debate should not be without having the overview or the reply of the first question that where are we actually. You cannot have a debate on a particular agenda. So if you have some query in your mind, you can ask for overall scenario or picture of this particular education system which we have so far now. And we had so many challenges and barriers. In fact, you all must agree with this that the challenges were for the participation, the language barriers, and it has been made now in the policy that up to the level grade 5 actually there should be education which should be in the mother tongue or regional language, and then it's not imposed of a particular policy over the student, but it is given a preference because ultimately the aim is to understand what you can understand from a rich society of information. And that way we consider that the part of learning, the culture, and the kind of network with the people living together is a good example in our country. So we have those options of learning, and there's a tracking system or this particular also in our system of learning. So if anyone has a question, actually, one can ask me up to this level that if any additional queries you people have, please feel free to participate. It will be good if you participate because FDP means what outcome you are taking at the end of learning is the main concern here, rather than simply showing you some slides and giving you some cut paste copy data actually. Okay. So it's that way, understanding the document, implementing, because you people, if the faculty is participating here, the faculty is responsible for implementation of it. And general implementation comes as whatever you are in expert of it, you try to implement that only. That should be taken out of your mind. And because the preamble again says that you have to make out of thinking, out of box thinking actually, where you can implement something new and you can improve upon the education system, where you are also improving, your students are also improving, your institution is also improving, and then society as a whole is improving upon a system of learning. So that is what the focus is upon the part of learning we talk about in the new education policy. So, any question? Yeah. Okay. Now, question. Then we move ahead with this. That education, according to Froebel, is unfold of what is as of how enclosed in the germs, and it is the cycle through which the youngsters make the interior outside. So, it's an example of natural system actually, which we have focused upon here. Providing universal access to quality education is the key of to India's continued ascent and leadership on the global stage in terms of economic growth, social justice, and equality, scientific advancement. What is it? It's a part of sustainable development. Okay, so those three, where we talk about social, economic, and environment as a whole, the common factor of these three is a part of sustainable development, and sustainable development goals have one of the uh, 17 goals, SDGs goals, and millennium, the MDGs goals, millennium development goals also, as education, right to education, and education for all is a target actually here. With the change in global systems, it is being critical for children's, not only from the learning point of view, but it's a challenge for how to learn actually. So as I said, learning has got four dimensions of learning. That somebody is learning for the job, somebody is learning for knowledge to know about, and somebody is learning for the character building, and somebody is learning for other job, other part of sphere, by saying that how to do the creativity. So that's what one has to think about, that how one should start the part of learning. Okay, sometimes it becomes learning is a part of unlearning also, that you must have heard of. So, what prejudice you have in a mind of learning that should come out of the box, and then you plan for a differently, for different learning, that you take out the cumulative effect of all learners and then mark it as a part of institutional development. So that's why we call, there is going to be a kind of a system in future where the grading autonomy will be taken up as a part of a reform education system, and that grading will be done through academic, administration, and finances. Okay, so how you are dealing with the financial sustainability, how you are dealing with the good administration participation, and how the academics is improved upon, that's being as a part of improvement in the system through the reforms in higher education actually. And it will be taking in the phases actually, or because this affiliation system, university and other systems will go uh, uh, vanish, or the phase wise in a number of years, and then we have to implement with the target of achieving this particular autonomy at the institute level. The institute itself will be giving you, let's say, degrees, and then you will be giving the certifications at the different levels. There is a equivalency body at the national level which will be deciding that which certificate is probably equivalent to what. So some kind of credit system will be generated in this particular identification, and that credit system will be your bank actually. So in spite of saying that you have cash in banks, now you have the credits in banks also. That you have those credit banks where academic credits can be counted for you, and you have national depository systems where you have your database for availability of what you have. So everything has to be turned out. Okay, systematically in order to achieve this particular new education policy 2020 in the 21st century for having the holistic growth of the society through 365-degree, okay, 360-degree feedback systems. So just to again what we discussed, approved by Union Cabinet of India on 29 July 2020, it is outlined for the vision of new education system of India. And the policy is a comprehensive framework of elementary education to higher education as well, vocational training in both rural and urban areas. The vocational education systems is very attractive for those kind of target where the GER can be improved as looking into uh, the people participation from school to higher education or the college level. Now, why it is felt in the rural areas? Because if you look into the large number of dropouts which are coming actually in the system are from rural areas. They drop out at the level of eighth standard. They drop out at the level of fifth standard, eighth standard, and then the board. Earlier, the 10th was the board actually, and then we have at the end 12th is the highest actually. So many people get the job. Many people shift their working as a unskilled or skilled labor like that. They convert into the manpower, which is of different work actually. But again, there is a question that before coming out of this particular system of learning, are they skilled with that particular kind of training? So in new education policy from sixth onwards, okay, from sixth onwards, you have been given opportunity to grow your skills actually. And the AI and robotics and other techniques of ICT have taken up this as a challenge actually, that the people should be updated with these kind of systems, IoT systems, where we can improve upon the manpower skills and we can make them motivated to come back again after some number of years. Because economic of a particular region and the disadvantaged people in a region can give somebody to stop the education after the schooling and then never has opportunity to again come back. But you see, this new education policy is an invite to such people who can anytime come after serving for 2 3 years and making their economy well established by going through the particular crisis of the family growth or the need of family from the economics point of view, from the poor people actually participation, which is not coming up at the higher level, is probably restricting so far. But in new education policy, you have options that you do 1 year certification, then you make a job because your skills are up to that level as per the need of industry and the society. Then you come back after 2 3 years and do your diploma certifications, make more credits there, and then again you go for the job which is better than earlier one, and then you can come again for making higher degrees. Likewise, the phases of learning have been increased, looking into the pursuit of a person for education learning, curiosity or attitude of learning actually. So that's an option actually which has been given here when we talk about this particular policy framework actually. So policy has particular emphasis on development of creative potential of each individual. As Bloom's taxonomy goes from creativity, that's remembrance to creativity. What is that remembrance to creativity? You have talked upon the issue by saying that you had anything which you saw may not be understood by you. If we talk what is the retention in adults learning, then it comes out to be, all of you might be thinking, if I ask you one question, what is the retention in adults learning actually? Anybody who can reply? I want that audience is yeah, taking participation. So somebody should reply. Okay. What is the adults learning? If somebody is teaching you in the class, what is the retention? Okay. Anyone? Some percentage? 80%, 90%, 10%? What is? What is that figure? Anyone?
So if the person is if the person is teaching somewhere and is in the age of
I'm
30
talking
to 40.
learners part. Teaching is different. I'm talking learner. Somebody is teaching and somebody is learning. So what is the retention of learner? If I'm teaching here, I'm talking 1 hour is passed away, and then what is the retention? What we discussed so far, actually, what is the percentage retention? If I ask you that,
Might be,
so
sir,
that's yeah.
50. Yeah, it depends on the concentration level though, but hardly it been like 50 to 60%, what I think so.
Okay, that's quite encouraging. You have said for me actually as a teacher, but let me tell you, adults learning never comes more than 20-25% because
Oh.
it is unless you revise what that's what we do with the students actually when we go to uh, class. We say that whatever we have taught, you have taken up the notes, you have understood in your mind the concept, and then you have to work out with this particular concept of learning. You read it again, you make references, you give the presentations, you give the examinations, you give the tests, and then you make preparations. Then it goes up to the 80%, 90%. 100% is never achieved in learning part because it's long life learning actually in a particular subject of learning. So we
But
call
sir,
it
again, it depends. Like if a person is of the like 30s, and what the teenager actually grasps is very less due to lack of concentration.
teenager is lesser than that actually. I'm talking adults learn.
Hmm. Yeah.
Adult learner percentage is that one. Unless somebody is reading again, going at the home and then learning, reading
Hmm.
that notes and then preparing self notes, referring books. So each one is giving you 20%, 30% increase. And when somebody is presenting in the class by being at the teacher's place, like in
Hmm.
seminars and all, that's why teaching learning mode is actually changing with this particular. That's a
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
debate actually we can keep somewhere if we talk how the teaching learning is taken up. But
Okay.
just part of uh, I mean reception with the adults learning. This comes out to be a technique of learning. So what
Hmm.
is the then understanding level when we talk about this five, six stage, three tier uh, Bloom's taxonomy, where we are saying somebody is going from understanding to creativity actually. So there is a idea which is infused in the mind and then continuously working on it. Somebody has taken up the idea in first year of let's say the course of engineering, and then by the end of fourth year he or she could explore that my background of idea was strengthened with so many subjects, so many self-learning practices, so many resources which I had in the institution. So now I'm ready to work on this, and that's what the research aptitude starts with for creativity, and then you go for the master dissertation works, and then you go for the PhD thesis and other research projects actually. So this particular continuum is a part of that Bloom's taxonomy only. That without knowing what is actually concept behind this, you just remember the things. Then you try to understand that most people who come from the rural background, you see, what they do, they come in the class. They don't understand sometimes the language only because the communication language is the English. If that's a regional language or local language or the Hindi or the language of their own understanding, where the resources or material is converted, is good, which has been kept as the option in new education policy that ultimately not making the thing complex and then teaching, making simpler things in the better understandable words of individual. That is the focus actually. Otherwise, the main focus was English learning only, and then it was the content which was not retained actually in individual's mind. So what that fellow was doing, he was just remembering, writing in the exam, never know that what one has written and what has been asked for. Okay, even it happened, if you give the question, enumerate this, the fellow didn't understand what is the meaning of enumerate and then replied the question also. So that's what remembering and then understanding by referring again books and going through dictionaries and going the keywords and all, one grasps it and then takes, okay, oh, it was so simple then. Why didn't I get it earlier? So retention becomes better actually there. Then it becomes phases for parts where we are saying that it goes for applying the things and then analyzing the things and then evaluating through the examination systems and implementing your concepts through dissertation seminars and all, and then you innovate something. Okay, that's a creativity. So that creativity is an individual's creativity, and then one new next generation people have to understand from remembrance to creativity, and then they again start from that creativity concept to the next level of creativity concept in order to grow the society. And that is what these three domains actually, where you're talking about how you go from this as affective psychomotor to cognitive to affective level of understanding in the domain of learning. So this particular concept which has been focusing upon the creative potential of individual is a main concern, and the pursuit is for all this wisdom, knowledge and truth, which was always considered in Indian thoughts of philosophy, which is of the highest human goals, as I mentioned. Our visionary people, maybe any Swami Vivekananda too, uh, the Aryabhat and other people, whosoever you consider as the scholars of our Indian history, actually, they have uh, these reforms in our education system, where we have the Institute of Reports, Repute, and the ideal institutions, by saying that Taxila and other institutions were of the same repute. Okay, so this freedom and the regulation uh, have to be enforced upon. That's what freedom and flexibility in university degree granting system, standardization with the Indian higher education system, robust integration of Indian higher education system, a move towards internalization of Indian higher education system, and number of concerns. These are not the end of. I just enumerated a few major promises, but they are hierarchically. If you look into this, who is offsetting? Okay, what are the inputs in any particular learning part? Okay, if I ask you, what is the first thing you would like to say? That institutional growth can be taken up through the part of learning by saying that you have one agenda in your part of learning by saying institution is should be good. If you visit any institution, what is good in institution? Can you just focus upon this? What is good in education in the institution actually? Do you feel that the classroom is good, or the particular
The curriculum should be good, sir.
okay, curriculum should be good. That's one you said, and that's the first thing you mark it.
The the
Okay,
curric
consider it the faculty who is married and wants to get admission of their wards and childrens, then they have to decide actually this particular agenda, that where should we go for the education of our child or what. Then what is the first criteria you look into in an
uh,
institution?
the flexibility of entering and exiting modes.
Okay. Not the teacher.
Of course, yeah, the cooperation of the teachers. Yes, yes.
The cooperation.
That
You
the
see the teachers only. How many professors are there? How many associate professors are there? How many assistant professors are there? And how is the administration? People are cooperative or not? They are giving the retention to the people or not? That is the first thing actually. And that is what our Indian history also mentioned that कुछ बड़ा रिसोर्स जनरेशन नहीं था अपने पहले के लोगों के पास में. uh, of course, library was quite rich actually. You can take the example of Taxila and other. Then you can say that you had the only thing is the face value of institution was teacher. So faculty should be available of that repute by which you can say that the person who should be the key element in order to market that how we focus upon the selection of institution. Okay, so the first thing you focus upon is the faculty actually, that the faculty should be of the international repute or the competent or uh, the kind of system to run through the faculty participation only. So, and this is there in the international scenario of education system. You see, you get the recommendation of a professor. Have you ever seen the recommendation of a professor at the international level? He or she is specifically marking those recommendations, which are the ability of the student to uh, have the participation in a system or society. And those feedbacks are highly ranked actually. So what we need is to make it as an impression that in our education system also we have to make that kind of reputation of the teachers, which can carry this impression that we have the people of repute and the society can identify, can give the due respect to the faculty members uh, according to their impression in the society. So that should be the key focus area. Actually, one can think about when we talk about institutional growth or development. Okay, so then comes as the flexibility, degree granting systems, Indian higher education system. These four I put just in a random way, and to understand that how you make a perception of the institution in a particular level of understanding. Okay. Now, this NTA, let's say, is conducting in our engineering systems the education twice a year, 4 years multidisciplinary bachelor programs are preferred. Midterm dropouts are to be given credits and option to complete degree after a break. And this has to be our next 15 years, colleges will be graded autonomy to degrees affiliation university at the end and would be university status also. So every institute, you just imagine that every institution, maybe government, private, now we have a hierarchy of institutions. You have marked it as in technical education, the IITs, NITs, central universities, global world-class universities, then you have government universities, then you have private universities, then you have in between the government institution also somewhere, and then going for the private institutions, and then you come across a system of organogram which is existing in our nationwide learning. Now you think about that all these institutions are ranked upon the three agendas: academic, administration, and financial altogether. And then you have a grading systems probably at the national level. You framed out different grading systems, which is representing a model for higher education institutions. Okay, so there can be actually two models that at every district level headquarters you have a Meru. You have seen Meru as a taxi actually. But here, Meru is a model multidisciplinary education and research universities actually, which are focusing upon this research and teaching incentive universities. And when we talk about research and teaching, they are not two different things. You see, when you talk about the role of a teacher, no teacher is out of the research actually. So one has to evolve every time. So the agenda is when we talk about that at the center, at the heart of the core of the particular institution is a teacher. So teachers should be strengthened. Now, teachers should be strengthened in what way? Teachers should be strengthened by giving proper pedagogy, by giving proper trainings, by giving proper knowledge and proper opportunities, proper rewards, proper promotions, and other objectives which are as and when required for the need of a particular faculty for growth of an individual field of specialization. Maybe arts, you are developing an institution. Now, we have started those multidisciplinary project of learning where we are saying that engineering is dealt with the social uh, sociology, and then we have medical as a part of it, biomedical, or these physical education is being as a part of learning. So these multidisciplinary education systems are giving you assessment over the grading systems, and that's what the higher education institutions will be doing. Okay. So as a principle, you see we have four things in order to have this ranking systems and other things. That those four principles, if I ask you, there are n number of, I don't say that there are only the four systems, but there are n number of principles. But if you want to rank, then probably what is the key out of so much of discussion, what is the key objective with which we are developing the human resource actually, or uh, having a teaching learning concept? What is that? Anybody? Yeah, I want participants should participate. Yeah, participants can participate by saying one word only, that what kind of the principle we want in our student, okay, or what is the requirement of the globe, okay. Could you understand the question? Yeah. How many participants are there, Priyanka ji? Right now we have many. Okay, if I say Akhil is visible on the screen. Akhil, can you say something about it? That what is the first principle you uh, try to see as as from the learning of the particular new education policy? Because a commission, Higher Education Commission of India, has been framed out, and this is focusing upon these principles. That what is the aim ultimately? What for we are doing all this teaching, learning, education, universities, everything? What is the aim? That will probably will come out of the vision actually, which you have kept in your institution. Most of the institution we have got the similar kind of objectives or vision actually. You probably understand the concept of vision, mission. Then we have um, objectives, specific objectives, goals, and other things, right? So they are different actually. Vision is a big vision. Vision cannot be achieved in a day's time. Actually, it cannot be achieved in a 4 years degree even for the institution vision actually. So it's a continuum actually. So we say that the first principle comes out to be to have good human and good society. Right? Now, how to make good human and good society is a concern which one should talk about by having different kind of holistic approach of learning through all spheres of uh, education, maybe with the value education system, maybe part of learning through uh, the kind of system which we are keeping in our uh, engineering, medical, law, or any other field of specialization. Actually, arts also you can think about that. Why not the computers trained people are coming up in arts degree, commerce degree should have these computer trained people so that we can have better employability and we can have good people actually with the value systems, ethics, and better learning of society. So that's how you progress in a system. Then second of process of education. In the process of education, we all know that this it's a social human process actually. That this particular concept where um, you and student, the you means teachers and students, are keeping the kind of network with each other, and that's a part of learning. Then only if you don't have a connect with your students, you cannot make them to learn actually. So teacher is at the center of process in the process of education. That is the second principle, and there should be respect in the society, and the culture should be developed by the faculty members in order to have the illuminated, exemplary scholar gurus of our ancient history. Like I gave you the example, one can, our students, as you see, the Benjamin Bloom's student was brighter in order to analyze the Bloom's taxonomy. So he gave a better option from Bloom's taxonomy by saying that he could create the concept of learning from uh, analysis, synthesis to evaluate, and then going for the creativity. So that kind of part has been taken up by the next generation. So same should be a trend actually. So there should be a regulatory culture actually. One faculty has to have this kind of a mechanism or system where one can say that how this culture is prevailed in an institution through teacher centering education learning, right? That is the process of education. Then the third principle you come across is equity or quality, which is very important. So somebody says that yeah, quality comes through equity. Okay, for example, if I say that you have a quality institution like IITs are there, but IITs could not change so far other institutions because large number of students are coming in the government institutions, government universities, and private institutions also. So the quality may not prevail there, but if we make a concept of learning where any private institution fellow for a certification course can go anytime to IITs, a quality institution. So there is a provision of equity actually. Equality can create the quality. Okay, so let the equity pull the quality rather than saying the quality is making the equity to happen actually. So that's very important principle where one has to think about that at all level institutions this particular concept of learning prevails. Then the other concept comes is from empowering institutions. So somewhere we look into the institutions and then say the education system is so that the budgets in the government institutions are not sufficient to meet up the challenges. Somebody tells about the restrictions about the faculty, that the faculty is not at par than what the good institutions are having, and then how to improve upon this. Somewhere they struggle about the promotion, somewhere they struggle about the reward, somewhere they struggle about the higher education of the faculty member, grooming the faculty members, and number of issues are coming. So, what is the plan actually for empowering these institutions at the national level? That has to be worked out, and that is the part of the regulatory body or the apex body at the national level which will be looking to these agenda. So that's one which we have to say. Then other things is a change of regulatory body itself, and then making that the better governance is participating here. The board of governors are sometimes not effective in order to give the impression. The industrial heads may not be uh, contributing in the participation of the institution development, then it becomes a concern actually that we should have the change of these regulatory bodies, and then we should think about those governance which Higher Education Council of India is framing out, and then we can improve upon these systems, right? In addition to this, you have one integration of the research and teaching, which is very important. As there was a division at the primary, secondary, art, science, medical, engineering, all those were the divisions in the society of education system. But they should these stylization or disintegration is specifically we take should be taken rid of, and then we come out about a teaching process which is having a research input at every stage. So that's why this the higher end learnings for the latest tools and techniques through AI or maybe robotics, maybe IoT and other specializations of skill are initiated from sixth onwards. And then at the school level only, the person is so competent to have the participation in this particular education system. So that's a good thing which has probably come in this education, right? Okay. Now there would be, however, no pure engineering institution. Engineering because all streams have to be participate in this, and then just a minute. Oh, okay. There would be no pure engineering institution. Engineering students should have the freedom to choose side by side variety of multidisciplinary vocational and skill-based diplomas, certificate course, and choose electives for their choice and passion. So in this system, we have, let's say, uh, the holistic and multidisciplinary education flexibility of subjects, which is choice-based system, also extension, in fact, where the multiple entry and exit is ensured. Now, how this multiple entry and exit is happening actually, because in 1 year you have a certification course to be given, in second year diploma course is given, in third year BSc or some sciences degree is given, and the fourth year bachelor degree is given like that. And in integration 5 years integrated degree PG program, and PG programs are also bifurcated. So UG becomes 3 to 4 years actually, and the PG becomes from 1 to 2 years. So an integrated bachelor and master's degree is planned for bachelor and master's degree. That's again being one more option for higher education learning in engineering. So this particular concept is coming up with different kind of certifications. NEP through AICT would also allow the two engineering degrees to be pursued side by side, such as computer science engineering and mechanical engineering. So you call it that the fellow has taken up admission in mechanical engineering, and then with the major he is in the computers. So major degree or honors degree, somebody talks about that, maybe honors with the computers as a major one, and the minors they can take as the vice versa. It can be from computer to mechanical they can opt for. So the concept which was earlier as mechatronics and other things were, by renaming the branches rather than going for that renaming, any person can have a combo of different major and minor. According to that, the degree may be given as a bachelor degree with the minor specialization in civil, bachelor degree in civil engineering, minor specialization in computer science, bachelor degree in computer science with the minor specialization in civil engineering or mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or ICT branch altogether, they can be clubbed together because uh, earlier we used to have different people participations. Interdisciplinary research came by saying that different field of specializations were coming together and then working. Now we have multidisciplinary learning subject where one person is trained with different kind of fields and then different kind of major and minor subject options with the certifications so that one is competent to handle the problem of the society as an individual and in a team itself also. So that's what the good thing which has come in this new education policy. The subject common to both engineering streams shall not be offered twice while doing another degree. So, if you look into the master's degree and the bachelor degree as on now, uh, you might be having the same overlap of the theoretical portion at the bachelor degree and master's degree. Uh, Maybe now onwards, you will be having theoretical part in the bachelor degree or certificate course or diploma course, and then you can go for the advanced application part as the software development and other uh, uh, robotics development and other things to implement as an advancement over that rather than going for the repetition of same kind of learning. So that's a overlap is eliminated here. That's one good option one can see here in this new education policy. And as I said, flexible exit entry options and credit systems for grading is also being here for part of learning. The more focus on the student practical application knowledge is given. So hand-on practice exercises are to be given more emphasis, and then those credits which are earned through these skills will be taken up as a credit bank, and that credit bank will make convenience for the vocational education learning for having the students to get the better placement as the industry need, and then we can improve upon, right? Now, the new education policy states that the children will not be given coding skills right from the will be given coding skills right from the middle school to cope up with the technological advancement. Now, the coding, as I said, is a requirement. So you can think about how many people will require. Let's say 15 crores of the students are of the learning mode in the school as well as in the higher education. So you want to teach them coding. So where are the people actually available? So large number of financial institutions have to come with the participation in this. That's a good model which is going to come up in the society actually. One can think about that they can be entrepreneurs, the engineers can be entrepreneurs in this particular field where they can start their startups and they can participate in this particular kind of teaching learning of the coding to school levels. And then the fellow is ready actually to go for the application part as it's stated in the Bloom's taxonomy also that the third part of it, which is first was remembering, understanding, the second tier was applying and analyzing, the third was evaluating and creating. So this three-tier system can be addressed as a outcome in a particular education system soon after the schooling actually. So one is competent and skilled with the particular objectivity of coding in this particular system of learning. That is good thing which is coming out to be part of outcome of this education system. This is a major advantage for engineers as well as non-engineer students as now coding is a basic skill actually. So conceptually, you will be strengthened with these kind of systems, and we'll be having these skills at the school level itself. So there'll not be technology phobia because all fields now you say they have to adopt the advancement of technology, maybe medical, maybe law or IT. As I think IoT of everything, IoT of industries, IoT of designs, IoT of medical sciences, everything has to be dealt with. IT and IoT, I don't have to explain you understand better. IT is not giving that impact as IoT is giving you to go in a better way. Students need not struggle learn different coding languages after entering engineering to struggle for placement. The engineers are now expected to be versatile in both hardware and software. So the curriculum probably at the bachelor degree has to be now evolved, and then it has to be with the application part also. That they'll not be simply doing the software part. That can be worked out with the certification course also. And now, if somebody is interested in hardware learning, they can go for robotics assembly or design of robots and other things as per the need of society with the higher learning through software designs. Okay. So that part is coming up now. Now small projects will be given from the schooling onwards to students to design that how a machine has to turn and make a round of a particular sphere, which you have designed on a table actually as a part of your laboratory scale learning. And then it has to go for the implementation of that particular software in the machine. So that's a good concept which has come up with this. And now these are some of the queries which one can think about. That suppose you took engineering and after a year you want to leave it, you fulfill your dream. Usually you will not receive any degree according to the current education policy. Okay, third year में attendance short हो गई, बाहर कर देंगे. 42nd year में grade कम हो गई, बाहर कर देंगे. Or the fellow will not be he'll be nowhere actually in the education system for again having joining of that particular course. But now in new education policy, if you leave after 1 year, you will receive a basic degree. Okay, that's a certificate course. So 1 year certificate you will get in that particular field of learning. Whatever subjects you have taken up, according to that, you will be given. That is the institute level. It will be decided that what all courses you have opted for. After second year of engineering, you will receive a diploma degree. Third year of engineering, you'll get a similar to BE or BSc, etc. And luckily, after 4 years, you'll be awarded for full-fledged BTech degree with individual exposure, industrial exposure. So you'll be given, let's say, as I said, with the minor and major options that in this particular field of specialization, you got this minor, this major as a part of. Maybe honors degree you will be given for that. Bachelor with bachelor degree with honors, actually. It will be like that. In accordance to NEP, industrial visits will be arranged for the students right from schooling, and curriculum will be industrial based, skill oriented. Okay. So more focus will be given on the skill development. Vocational education and uh, professionalism will be more focused upon through industrial participation. So there'll be financial strengthening of the institution as well as knowledge enhancement as per the need of the society. So this may be an industrial revolution where you grow the institutions through uh, this kind of learning systems. Apart from these, higher education boards like UGC will not be centralized to a single board, and these single boards can be named as a part of different organizations. Somebody can talk about the higher education forum. Somebody can talk about what you go for the quality education boards. Okay, so national research foundations may be created there, and what is the um, I mean Ministry of Education, that may be from National Education Technology Forum to the different languages for making the privileged, underprivileged regions or disadvantaged regions for learning actually. Okay. So that's what you will be finding as a change. And there'll be academic bank of credit named as ABC. This academic bank of credit will offer these credits which you earn through certificate course, diploma course, degree course, and other things, which you can redeem anytime for going for higher education uh, further after a break of period. And then you can count for making this to use for higher degrees as part of equivalency, right? So there are some characteristics of ABC scheme which you look into here, and they focus upon all this entry and exit reforms only. So that has advantage of making this student to choose best courses, combination of the course of their interest, their specific degrees they want to go for. Anytime they're switching over from one degree to another, that's again an option available here. Okay, so these kind of uh, systems will be generated here. Okay, it also provides the various discipline like degree, diploma, PG, diploma, certificate program. Same. So ABC Credit Bank will be taking up all these issues to address upon that how you improve upon a particular system of learning. You can earn through online courses also, SWAM and NPTEL, and there will be audit or non-audit courses which can be thought of here through ABC teaching learning. So not much reforms are going to come up here, in not necessarily that evaluation system like taking examination and all will only be the particular mode of learning. You have the presentations through the people, non-audit courses also, somebody is interested, then non-audit courses can also be a part of learning here. And that can, there can be online courses for the doing this, and these different models will be implemented with the kind of making the total credit bank actually. So higher education institutions will also have the skill courses which can be taken up CBS CS system, choice-based credit systems, and the choice-based credit systems has already been probably applied to all universities and institutions. Now, only thing is there will be slight change for one stream to another in order to mark the minor and major and the designation of certificate and degree courses. Rest all is probably ease, which over the time we have worked out when the concept of this particular uh, engineering or any other education system was started way back in 2015, and since then we are moving to improve upon these kind of things, right? So credit is a term for calculating depending upon the theory. As we all know, what is the credit we are giving? There's a digit lockers available for these credit depositions. So one has to simply see online that what is the qualification of every individual with the particular course of credit earnings. So that's a good uh, IT application which will help in this particular. Then the storage of credit is shown somewhere with the particular institutions which can enroll in different regulations. So that is shown here. For example, once this account is open, all academic credits will be deposited into this, and these credits will be required to our degree, diploma, certificates on the completion of academic courses. Each student can store these credits for a maximum of 7 years. So one has to make it as a storage bank within a stipulated time period. Then probably you can be recognized as part of ABC. And this is how it works. Credit get deposited in institution A. Then ABC Bank is saying this, redeemed in institution B. Okay. And then B institution becomes the thing, and then it goes like that. So for higher B to C, C to D, like that. And credits working is for 5 levels, level 5 to level 10. After the completion of each level, which is typically 2 semesters, a student eligible to get their certificates, diploma, degree. And eligibility of school level certification of completion of class 12, we know that for the higher education, it is what the model comes out to be. It can be well understood in this table, which we are going to have here for award of total number of credits. For example, uh, for diploma, 70 to 80 credits if diploma is awarded. And for students complete third year of UG degree awards gets bachelor degree. Here the credits are 108 to 120, and the master's level is 1 year diploma also, and you have 2 years master's degree. 1 to 2 years, as I said, are the degrees for master's courses. Now, this looks in a tabular form like this at a glance, that from level 5 to level 10, you have this kind of movement. All of you can just go through it, that the credit system is 36 to 40 for undergraduate certificate courses, for diploma courses 70 to 80, bachelor degree 3 years 108 to 120, bachelor degree with honors research is with the major. Okay, with the 4 years duration, you have 144 to 160. Now, this 144 has reduced actually. Why? As on now, you have 180 to 200 something beyond. Some universities keep more also. So that has come down. That's equal to what IITs are doing. So that has been made at a model which speculates that the student should have the time for self-learning also, and those self-learning modules are planned according to that. These credit systems are designed, so it's a ease with the learning part. Postgraduate diplomas for those who exit after the successful completion of first year. So if you do not complete your dissertation in master's course, then also you get a PG certification course, and that's a good option actually. One can think, because it happens in the PG level that students generally get placement at the end of first year, and then they leave the course. So there is no advantage to them for spending 1 year where they take the scholarships also. But now there is a account of it, and then you have a certificate course. So anytime if you leave, but the thing is, everywhere you must see 2 semester uh, is a requirement, right? Now, at the master's degree, if you complete 2 years, the credits are 72 to 80. And for doctoral, minimum prescribed credit, and that has to be as per the publications. So that's for 2 semesters. So at the PhD level, research level, that's not much change over there. Stakeholders for NAC bank scheme is for all stakeholders. There are actually 5 stakeholders, we all know. Okay, and those has to be participatory in these bank applications. Application of NEP in Karnataka has already been started with this engineering and the policies for offering these honors courses, and at the uh, sciences and arts, it has been already started. In NITs in Hamirpur, it has been taken multiple entry and multiple exit as a part of team here at the UG, PG, and PhD levels. Okay, so academic bank, even for the PhD level, if you have earned the credits and then you leave that, which is there at the international levels. So now we don't have grievance actually by saying that international degrees do have these options, that a fellow takes the admission even in the research degree and then leaves the job, uh, leaves in between, then given opportunity to complete in a duration of 6 months. So in 3 years he works there and gets the work experience and then find out some industrial applications and then again come back and do the research objectivity in that particular degree. So that was an option which was seen in those kind of institutions. So that has come here also as a part of learning, right? And for academic bank credit also, for the student, it has been developed online. So ERP probably helps this to a great in order to mark these credit systems. Now, in multiple exit policies, the minimum and maximum credits targets to be achieved are to be seen here. For BTAC, must have successfully passed credits greater than 25% and less than 45% for approval of course structure actually. So certificate is to be awarded in that particular case. So if you have 20% as the credit which are passed, then you'll not get certificate. Okay. So number of courses probably will also make the total credit sum as the part of percentage. You must look into that. Flexibility is given for the percentage. So you have more flexibility than credits actually. So if somebody says that 25 credits or then probably the labs and theory may not match actually because some credits can be of some course can be of four credits, some lab can be of 1 credit and like that. So some it is to be given as a percentage. Now BTech dual degree is given where you have credits to be greater than 40 and less than 60% of approval course structures. So whatever course structure you design, that should be taken up as to make a decision that you're going to get a certificate course or a diploma or a degree or PG course or PG research actually for PhD. Similarly, 60 to 100, it is advanced diploma, BTech equivalent, dual degree it is. AMTech courses with the more credits. So you have, let's say, if you give 30 credits more actually when compared with at the end of 4th year, then earn 30 more credits and you get honors degree, honors in BTech honor, like that. So MTech must have successfully credits of 50 to 100%. So in between, if you get a post diploma certificate and like full-fledged for 100%. Right? For PhD must have successfully passed comprehensive and publications and all those depends upon. And the institution policies and flexibility is given for the academic autonomy for that. But more or less it will come with the particular quality publications at all levels because we talked when we were talking about equity is more focusing towards the quality. Remember that? That's very important because if you go for the quality and then talk about the equity, it will never happen. Okay. So the focus should come with that particular agenda that you are going to go for equity to this particular concept of happening. For dual degree, for credits, BTech portion will not be used for calculating purposes. So this should be kept in mind. A dual degree student can exit after 4 years and BTech degree for which he or she needs to apply for 3rd year should be with the CGPA of 8.5 as a course of structure or different BTech and dual degree in 4th year. So these are the CGPA or SGPA requirement. Together we have framed out at the institute level. In Warangal, NEP has been for the conceptual of major and minor as a choice-based system was giving the flexibility for these. So they have opted, for example, BTech in electrical engineering with minor in computer science engineering. And yeah. So that practice, the change has already begun, and now we have to participate in this in order to implement at all institutional levels. So likewise, microcredit courses and promoting innovations for 5 students, exit options for MTech and MSc PhD, and the integration of MSc with the engineering courses, like giving MSc students credits equivalent to those subjects. For example, if I give you, somebody comes with a master's in environment science, already earned the credits in MSc, wants to pursue for master's in technology, then those credits equivalency can be decided, and according to that, the required number of credits can be earned by individual, and then they can acquire the next degree as well. IIT Delhi has also or moved towards implementation of NEP 2020, and there they have taken up in MTech programs with the participation of AIs and data sciences for different multidisciplinary programs, and also multiple exits programs they have initiated upon. Right? So that's a part of discussion, but it's a beginning. Let me tell you that you understood probably the core issues in the national education policy, that where you want to reach, and the all three questions probably which we initiated with that: what do you want, how where are you, what do you want, and how would you reach? Those three questions probably are replied in your mindset. Now you can think about only as a part of beginning for implementing this education policy in your institution, and then probably a better outcome can be thought of for institutional development and social development. So basic things or concepts which you have kept in mind are probably reflecting the outcome of this education system, and those systems will be monitored through regulatory bodies as part of national apex bodies, which may be with a different name, but objective will be the same, the outcome based learning. Okay. Now, any question? I want that some questions from participants should come. Yes. Anyone? Yes. Pardon? Hello. Hello.
So might be
Yeah.
the participant, if you are asking any question, so please unmute. Otherwise, please mute.
Okay, one last thing which with the 2 minutes time I'd like to focus upon, that this new education policy over the period of 15 years, as the target we have taken, probably will focus upon those principles to strengthen upon, and particularly a teacher-centric learning should come out in order to make the student better guide. This particular policy will not be a success unless we have some kind of mechanism by which we have good entry level of the teacher. Sometimes it is said that the teacher is coming by choice or by default. Doesn't make a difference. Whatever way you come in the institutions, the issue is how you groom that particular person in order to give the best of the outcome one can think about in a sphere of influence. So that particular concept probably is a main key factor which one can think about when we talk about the institutional development. Now there is a time actually for financial sustainability also, that the institution cannot go under these kind of objectivities if even this starts from the schooling level also, because we have said that we have those kind of coding system to learn. Now if you don't have the particular coding facilities in the institution, learning for the computers and basic things of infrastructure, then probably it cannot happen. So but there is no constraint actually. The institution have to come forward and have to speculate through the visionary participation of the board of governors and the people who are management of that particular institution. They have to look into this, that how to make private public participation also in order to get this particular, because some private industry or institution or organization, NGO, can participate and come and participate in the institution to set up the infrastructure and develop that particular infrastructure of national repute. And then there can be some outcome from that particular institution which can be thought of, maybe at the no loss no profit to that particular institution. So there will be regulatory body which has to ensure that it has to be financially audited well. In order to look into that, there should not be any uh, much flow of the finances through the institution for entry level or exit level and all that. That is the key agenda which they will be focusing upon, and it will be giving a better outcome. So I hope some enlightenment has given on this topic, and you will continue of implementing and learning this particular policy in our nation also, in order to get equivalency at the international level, and reviving our own old education system also, which was prevailing earlier. Now that has to be recognized. Thank you very much for patience learning and having good participation. Okay, Priyanka ji?
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. I think that all the participants has got an idea, which you
Yeah.
explained so nicely, that how education policy lays the particular emphasis on the development of the creative potentials of each and every student of different spheres. So I think that that all of are being benefited and explained in so much extent that now we can think that how the foundational capacities of literacy and this high order cognitive capacities can be taught in the colleges, technical as well as in non-technical. So I really thank sir for giving so much enlightenment about this NEP policies, especially for our engineering background people. So I once again thank sir for coming and accepting our invitation and giving us
Okay,
so
brother.
much
Thank
knowledge.
you. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.